You and I met for coffee at Onyx not long ago, and I went into the coffee thinking we're talking about being welcoming and inclusive, and then you told me how you got here and the work that you do here, and everything pivoted a little bit because I want to share that.
Yeah.
So let's start from how did you get to the United States? Not first Arkansas, Missouri.
Right. So I have to take you back down memory lane for a little bit. 14 years ago, I came to the United States through arranged marriage. So I was working in India. I was actually at the peak of my career. I was doing really well, managing recruiting teams. And of course, the next step for Indian families is getting married. So my parents found an alliance, and it was all arranged by the parents. And we got married and moved to a small town called Washington in Missouri State, and that was 14 years ago. So it was what every immigrant woman faces. I was in an extremely confused identity crisis. I felt lost. And I couldn't take the culture shock because I couldn't work here because I was on a dependent visa. You know, you're still getting used to the arrangement of the marriage.
Yes. Is this someone that you had met previously?
No. We talked once the alliance was fixed and the stars aligned and all of the horoscope matches happened. We talked for some time before he came down, and we got engaged, and before we know, we were married. So it was very quick. Yeah. So when I came here, I was not prepared for. Because in my head, I'm thinking I'm going to a big town like New York City, but I had no idea I was going into a small town like Washington in Missouri. And I was thinking I knew good English, I could speak, I was okay to communicate, but I was shocked because I couldn't understand the accent of people and they couldn't understand what I was trying to communicate. So overall, I couldn't drive, I couldn't get out of the home, I couldn't make a living on my own, I had to depend on my husband. So, and this happens to most immigrant women. So it was really a huge culture shock. You know, my confidence shattered. Finally, I gave up, and I said within, I think 4 months, I said I want to go back home to India, and I did.
And you left your husband behind.
Yeah, my poor husband, he was here, but I said I'm done, I had enough. And I did go back, but eventually, a long story short, my parents convinced me to give it another shot. So I did come back almost about 6 months later, and we moved to Springfield, Missouri, which was much better, more inclusive. And yeah, and the rest is history.
And then you ended up in Bentonville.
I did. So we lived in Springfield for about 3 years, and then 9 years ago we moved to Bentonville. And when I moved here, in my head I'm thinking Bentonville is so much more diverse. You know, there are so many people from where I come from, so it might be easier for me to make friends, create a social, support system. But that was not the case because there is so much population, Indian population in Bentonville, that they end up creating subsets or smaller groups. There are groups of people from north of India, there are people from south of India, and further it breaks down into subsets of people from different states, the language you speak, the traditions you follow. So it was really hard for me to break that and get in.
Do you think people are hesitant or scared sometimes to be curious about other cultures because of maybe how it'll come across?
Yeah. I think the fear of the unknown or the fear of offending somebody by asking some questions. And that's why they try to stay in the safe zone of not reaching out or approaching people. I mean, even just walking up to somebody at the square and saying hello makes a huge difference. You know, it really impacts more than we think it does, but not many people do that.
We're going to speak to your experience and using your experience in your role at Kite String to help others come to this community and feel welcome and feel part of this community. What are those barriers, and what can we do to get that conversation going?
First, I want to say, in my role at Kite String, I have two important responsibilities. One is bringing more talent into Bentonville. Second is making sure that talent who come down here also feel pride in being in Bentonville, pride about their city, give back to the community. So some challenges that we face, firstly, is to bring that talent here.
Sure.
So when we talk to candidates, as part of my job, where we're trying to bring software professionals to Bentonville to relocate from cities like Atlanta, Boston, New York, San Francisco, you are talking to them about a place that they probably have never heard of. Apart from all the good things like, no traffic jams like in big cities.
Not that many. A couple maybe out
not that many. Not like crime rates or even pollution or how beautiful this place is. But apart from all that, I think the biggest challenge is for them to know about the community itself, for them to know about people. If they have, if I'm talking to somebody from a Muslim country, they ask about, do they have a mosque here? If I'm talking to somebody from India, they ask me if there's a temple, if there's an Indian grocery store here where they can buy their, food. So those are all and there have been many times when we've had to talk to the spouses, sometimes even the children, to talk about the school districts and how awesome they are. But those are some of the hassles really that we face, where bringing them, convincing them to come here itself is a challenge. But once they come here, I think for us it is, of course, we know that they come here and everything changes, they start loving this place. I still get calls from spouses of people I brought down here to say, thank you, we made the best decision to move here.
We like to hear that.
Yes,
yeah.
and they've been here 2 years, 3 years, and they just don't want to leave. So that's the impact I think the society has. But to my second point earlier, I don't think my responsibility or Kitestring's responsibility ends at bringing people here. Or it doesn't mean that, okay, we brought these people here, now they're taxpayers, now they're contributing to the local economy, so our local businesses flourish, or they're populating the schools. That's not the only contribution. I think we want to make sure they become responsible citizens or members of the community, where they learn to give back to the community and become a part of the community, participate in events and things like that. So to go back to your question, the biggest challenge is to bring people here.
You said participate in events. We're downtown Bentonville.
Yes.
We do First Friday and Farmers Market. I'll pick on our organization a little bit. What can we do better to make sure that everyone feels welcome at our events, they feel represented and heard at our events?
Yeah, I think you're doing a fantastic job right now, because when you come to the square at a farmer's market, you just see the colorful vibe of the place. It's not just one certain kind of looking people. It is everybody, right? And I see, it's not. It's mixed, it's a healthy mix, right? So I see that happen, but I really wish that I would see more interactions happening. Yep. That is the only thing I feel like we missed.
That was my final question, was just give us one thing that everyone watching can do. And it sounds like it's say good morning at Farmers Market, interact, be curious, ask questions.
Yeah, I think we are a progressive city. But I don't think progressive only means having modern technology or modern infrastructure. I think progressive really means having less walls and more bridges.
Well, I can't wait till our next coffee.
Yeah, same here.
And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Dana. It was great being here.